Hey everyone! So, I thought I was going to include the making of my January pages in the video that did my shelf pages and this page, but I knew that it was going to be too long and I didn't want to make such a huge process video. So, this is going to be in a separate video, my January pages that I'm going to make. I am going to make a calendar, I think. I haven't decided yet. But I know that I want to include a bar graph or a calendar of what I read. This little graphic is by Laura's Loaning Library. She's on Instagram. I will leave her information, but she makes these free templates and you can keep track of your reading. I started doing this in October after a book friend, Naomi, 3 stars and up. I'll leave her Instagram. But she recommended this, and oh my goodness, you guys, this has totally changed my reading. This is how I'm able to read because I just love tracking my reading. I don't know about you, but tracking my reading really reminds me of being a kid again and counting up those pages. So I'm all for that, and I am happy to have a little tracker. So I don't think I'm going to include this in here, maybe, I don't know. I haven't decided. Okay, so I do know that I'm going to stamp January. Okay, I'm not so sure what I'm going to put on this page or how I'm going to design it beyond the January. I know I'm going to stamp the month January, and I know over here I want a bar graph, and I'm probably going to use this journaling card and these die cuts. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the bar graph. I will try to figure out my plan for this page. And then after this page, I will be using the little photos I have here. I'm going to be doing a overview of all the pages I read, and then probably a page for my favorite, and then my favorite. And then maybe call it done. So, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm having fun making this journal. Super fun to put this together, guys. I'm having so much fun. All right, I will stop blabbing and I will start getting to the making. All right, here I go. Okay, I'm sorry if that introduction was a little all over the place. Like I said in previous videos, my Bojo journal, book journal, is new to me, and it's hard for me to kind of come up with pages, and that's it. You can't move it around. You can't erase it. Okay, so I glued down my die cuts. Now I am going to try a bar graph, and let me tell you, it was a mess. I could not figure out what number scale to use. And then I realized that my die cuts were in the way when I was trying to figure out drawing the lines to represent the number of pages. And you can see me here trying to figure it out and how most of my pages would go past the die cut. And it was just not working. Here I am trying to highlight it, and most of it is just, it's not working. Literally, it is a hot mess. I left this in the video so that way you could see what my first approach was. But then I rip it out. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to waste any more time. I rip it out. And I will later on use this paper to stamp on, and when I goofed on some stamps. So I ripped that out, and I am just going to go to the left-hand side and work on that side, and then try to figure out not a bar graph, but probably a calendar. I will just do a calendar so that way I can show the number of pages I read each day. I'm going to do that. That would be easy. Much easier than trying to figure out a bar graph. That was really making me so upset. Okay, so I'm stamping January with my alphabet stamps from Kellie Stamps. And you saw that I did JAN together. That doesn't work. I need to stop doing that. I need to do single letters, and that's it. Okay, so then I get excited and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a bar graph. And I wind up fighting with the bar graph, or the calendar, the calendar. And I was throwing stuff and throwing my ruler, and eventually my husband helped me figure it out. So here it is. I took a break. I think I turned the camera off. I took a break, and I took a break because my husband was the one doing it. Because I could not figure it out. I was just doing it by the wrong measurements, the wrong scale. So he said something I will put it in the description what we came up with, but we came up with a formula, and the formula is going to work every month. So I do Sunday through Saturday, and then I just wrote the days, highlighted them with a midliner, and then just wrote the number of pages. Now I'm going to go back to decorating on the left side. And this is where I kind of goofed up with my stamps. I didn't push hard enough, and I should have tilted the book up like you saw me do the second time to get a good stamp impression. That didn't happen, so I'm going to use that spare paper and stamp on that. But for this that I'm stamping right now, I want to know where the rest of genres is going to go. So I'm going to do ES first and then the rest of genres. Does that make sense? Because I wanted the ES to end right there touching that geotag stack of books. So that's why I stamped the last two first. And I basically just went on Goodreads, and I've kind of looked around to, not looked around, I looked at the books that I read, and I picked a few genres that I was reading. I also counted up all the pages that I read, which is really fun. You guys, this totally reminds me of being a kid, and like almost like, because I'm a scrapbooker now, this almost reminds me of like rewarding myself for all the pages I read, and now I get to decorate and make a fun page about all the pages I read. So I counted it up, and it was 3,007 pages, and now I'm just going to stamp out with my typewriter font stamps. And I have my arthritis gloves on. In case you're wondering, my fingers were really hurting that day, and they were just really cold. And it also kind of helped because these stamps were so tiny. But I think by the end of this video, I had like crumbled up all these stamps, and I had to have one of my kids fix them because I'm like, I'm not touching those little stamps anymore. Okay, so I just stamped out on my bar graph disaster paper the geotag and book little stamp image, and I'm just going to put that right over the other stamped image because that didn't work. So the bar graph disaster paper actually worked. Came in handy for the goofed up stamp images because I'm still trying to get the hang of stamping in a journal like this. So there we go. Stamping that, and then in the geotag spot, I'm just going to put read, and I'll use the blue letters. I'm thinking that for most months, I will go with one color. One color would be good. Like February, I think I'm going to do red. March, I'm going to do green, and so on. So for this journaling card, I just talked about how the month was a really good reading month, and I read lots of books, and just how I read a couple graphic novels as well. And I'm just going to cut off the date portion because I don't need that. And then I will add it to the bottom left, and also a die cut, and then another stamped circle. So now I'm adding in the genres. You can see it kind of in the top left, my list, and adding up stuff. So I read a lot of fantasy, young adult, contemporary, and so just I read a wide range of books. The main things that I don't read are memoirs and nonfiction. But lately I can do those if I do audiobooks. Then I got a really clever idea to use the stamps to make little stacks of books over in the little corners that didn't have anything. And I'm going to make the stacks, and then I can write out my shortest and longest books. One of the books I read in January was 540 pages. I'd been putting it off because it was so long, but I conquered that book, and man, I was proud of myself. And then my shortest books were graphic novels, I believe. So, and then I'm adding just a bunch of stars all over the place because I feel like it. Sprinkling some stars. There we go. And then I found new homes for those die cuts. I don't know if I said that already, but I found new homes. So in the empty spot up where the calendar is the blue book, and then good books, the black die cut is down at the bottom with the journaling card. So those work much better in those spots. All right, and then the last thing I'm doing is I'm using an everyday stamp set, I think, from Little Lamb Paper Company. And I'm just writing out there I go again, I said the wrong thing. I am writing out morning, afternoon, evening. All right, so for this page, super simple. I used my LE Studio alphabets, and I'm just writing out this month, are sticking down this month, and then I have 3x2s of the rest of the books that are not my favorites, and then I will use the star stamp to put out my rating. And I know you didn't need to see me stamp every single one, so I just included a few, and I'm just stamping repeatedly what my rating is. I didn't care if it was straight or not straight, so I just went with whatever happened with the stars. So just making sure I get my rating down. Lots of good books this month, and I even finished a book with my son, which was Guts. We tend to read a lot of graphic novels, my son and I, so those are always fun to read together, and we usually finish about one a month. So yeah, this page, super simple, 3x2, stamp the rating, and then that's it. And I think I was only missing one book, and that was Mooncakes. Okay, so if you stuck with me this long, then I have completed this page. I absolutely love it, you guys, and I'm so glad I stuck with it. And I'm glad I went with the calendar, and I just love this. This is so much fun to put this together and just play with my stamps. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and enjoyed watching me create this page and also put together this one. It's super quick, super simple way to just visually see your books. And then in my next video, I will show you my favorites. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I would love a thumbs up, or if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.